When we talk about training, I hope you're getting training. I hope you're not just carrying a firearm, okay? It's your right to carry a firearm with no training whatsoever. I believe in the Second Amendment to the Constitution. I believe the right to keep and bear arms. We don't have to be trained in order to exercise rights.
Pepper spray is next generation OC spray. It's hot at 1.4% major capsaicinoids, and its modular design means you can customize it exactly to you. 3 different setups, lots of different color combinations. You can make it exactly as you like. And the flip top safety prevents accidental discharges. Its 10 to 12 foot range and 25 half-second blasts make sure that you can keep that long range eye poke at long range. I trust Palm OC and I recommend it for everyone for self-defense.
But should you be trained in the exercise of your rights? Yeah, you have the right to say any damn thing you want and not fear government reprisal, but that doesn't mean you ought. It means you should be trained how to say smart things, agreed? Yeah, so listen, you have the right to carry a firearm, and I see people use firearms as noisemakers, as emotional support animals, okay? As very loud warnings, often, but that's very dangerous, okay? So I would strongly recommend training, and your training has to be the 3 R's: recent, relevant, and realistic. Okay? Firearms training expires, and if you have not gone to class in forever, you know, they say that only about 1% of firearms owners in America will take a class on any given year that's not their license to carry class. So if you go to 1 day of training, you go sit under instruction for 1 full day under a competent firearms instructor, you're in the top 1% of firearms owners in America. That's pathetic. So if we say in a room this size, we've got a couple hundred people here, that means maybe 1 or 2 of us have taken a class in the last year. Now listen, you don't have to be a junkie like I am. You don't got to go, you know, I do continuing education because it's my profession, right? So I take 100, 150 hours a year. You don't got to do that. That's borderline stupid, okay? Just ask my wife. But 1 day, you can take 1 Saturday out of your life a year and go get a class under instruction and learn and grow, okay? That's what I mean by recent. You gotta have some recent training. And some people go, why go to the range? That's not training, that's practice. Practice should be a more relative occurrence than that, a more common one. Has to be relevant. And so when I say relevant, it has to be relevant to your life. Has to be actually what you actually do. I do see people that they show up to class. I'm a concealed carrier, probably like most of you, if you carry a firearm, you're a concealed carrier here, and they show up to class in full battle kit. And I'm like, okay, I mean, you know, hey, listen, I like tactical fantasy band camp just like the next guy, okay? But what I really want instead is I want to work from what I carry, okay? So when I show up to teach class, for instance, this is what I look like. I will add a dump pouch usually because I've got like stuff that I got to get out of there a bunch, and a visible med kit in case somebody gets shot on the range. I never had to use that, thank God, so far. But other than that, I look exactly like this, and I draw my gun from exactly where I carry it. Yep, I'm carrying a gun today too. Hopefully you are as well. Don't show me yours, okay? I've seen it, man. Listen, I had fans. I'm not joking. I'll tell you this story real briefly. I'm driving down the road, and we're driving in the ASP mobile. My pickup truck has the company logo on the side of it because tax write-offs. And so I'm driving down the road with my buddy Mike, who's on badge cams with me. And we're going up to the local cigar shop to get a cigar. Dude pulls up next to us at the stoplight. He's like, oh, oh, oh. And I was like, roll the window down. Hey, man, how are you? He goes, oh, John and Mike, I'm huge fans, man. I watch your videos all the time. This is great. Hey, man, nice to meet you. That's great. We see that all the time. I'm totally down with that. And he goes, dude, you like the VP9? Me too. Hand to God, that actually happened. And I'm like, put that down. Don't do that. What are you doing? That's aggravated assault in Arizona. That's a felony. We don't have brandishing in Arizona. We simply have ag assault. There's no brandishing charges in Arizona. Ag assault. And I'm like, don't do that. So I'm proud of the gun that you carry. Please don't show it to me. Okay? Make sense? No, we do all that show. Has to be relevant to your life. So you know, when we talk about, wait a minute, you know, people ask me all the time, John, why don't you cover military engagements? You know, we got all this wartime footage now that's coming out because it's just not relevant to my life. I want to train private citizens and police officers in their use of force in their roles, so I don't do military engagements at all, okay? Also has to be realistic. I think a lot of people, their understanding of how gunfights go comes from watching too much John Wick. I mean, it's just true. They watch John Wick and they go, oh man, I'm ready with the jujitsu and the judo throws, and I've got my shotgun over here, and I've got my rifle and all that stuff. I mean, John Wick carries a P-30. Perfect, that's wonderful. Loves him some Blanton's. Not my favorite bourbon, but it's pretty good. It's all right. I'll drink some if you have it. But, Weller is better. Anybody a Weller? No? Anyway, so we're not going to talk about bourbons. Don't get me started on that. But that's not a realistic gunfight. It's made for Hollywood, okay? They watch too many movies, and that's not how they really go. And so what we do here is I'm going to show you real incidents. These are how they really go, and this is what really happens. And the ones that I'm going to show you here are very typical. All right, so they're what we see again and again. I had somebody say this to me, and they go, man, I watched your videos for a while, but it seems like your lessons are always the same. Other people might consider that a clue. That's strong evidence, friend, for maybe the things that you really need to know in order to survive a gunfight, okay? This is like when we do church safety stuff, like we just had the active killer at Lakewood Church. And people are like, oh man, John, what am I going to do about this stuff? Look, man, when we talk about church safety, I was a pastor for 14 years. The active killer problem is the simplest problem to solve in your church. It's a simple problem. Somebody's killing people in your church. What do? You kill him. You shoot him. That's it. Full stop. That's the solution. You draw your gun and you go to work until he's done, until he's decided he's done. In that case, she's done. It's a very simple problem. The problem that immediately comes afterwards is the big problem. Okay, now what in the follow-up? Now you got thousands of people, hundreds of people exiting the building, wanting to go get their kids. You got cops showing up. You got all these other problems. What are you going to do now? Everybody goes, I don't know. You better figure that stuff out, okay? So anyways, realistic training. What really happens and what do I really need to be prepared for? So that's what we're going to mess with here, okay?